by asking you my first question of the day. Here we go. Have you ever experienced problems with the delivery of goods at home or at work? What happened and what did you do? Right? We order we live in Manhattan. So we order delivery for food at least once a week. I like cooking, but I can't cook every day. So delivery once a week. And during the pandemic, a lot of Amazon's orders, right? You can't go anywhere, so you just order and order. Of course, there's a lot of problems. The items came in broken. The items didn't arrive on time. So I usually need to call the customer service. I need to either return, getting a refund. What about you guys? You guys live in a different countries, different parts of the world. I want to know, what are you guys doing? What you have been having issues with? So I'm going to put you in a breakout room and you will discuss this with your partner. So I'll give you maybe 4 or 5 minutes or so. It's a time for you to introduce yourself and get to know one another as well. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 participants. So I'm going to put you in 6 rooms. So you just need to click join. There will be one room that has, sorry, move to room 5. Yeah, of course. I'm going to create 5 rooms. One room that you will have 3 people. Have fun and enjoy talking, meeting with new friends for 4 minutes or so. And I'm going to put the questions in the room for you as well. So you just need to click join and you will be right with your partner or your group. Okay, I like it when I call people back and I see people smiling. That means you guys have a good time talking. I know it's a little bit short, but I promise you at the end, I give you more time. Today, you will actually practice some conversation with your partner. So today, the reason that I'm giving you that questions is because today I want to talk about this topic, direct versus indirect questions, right? Yes, you've been asked questions all the time and you ask questions to people all the time, but sometimes you only think, oh, how many ways that you can ask questions in English? And in English, you can ask 2 types of questions. One is called direct questions. Of course, the name itself, direct, very direct, right? Straightforward. What time does the train leave? How often do trains to London leave? Very direct. You want to know the answer right away, right? Sometimes these questions are like yes or no questions. And then we have another type of question called indirect question. Indirect, as the name it is, indirect, not direct, right? So usually indirect question is embedded in your regular conversation in a day-to-day basis, but sometimes you just don't know this is what it calls indirect question. For example, I would like to know what time the train leaves. It is the same meaning, right? But the way you ask question is a little bit different. Do you know how often trains to London leave? Same meaning, but different way to ask the question. I'll give you more example. So for the direct questions, we usually use auxiliary verb like be verb, do or can with subject and verb to form a direct question. What are you doing tomorrow? When did she arrive? How can he get here? Direct. If you want to form yes or no question, yes or no, you start with the auxiliary verb right away. An auxiliary verb, it's like are, can, did. For example, are you free tomorrow? Did she arrive on time? Can he get there? Direct, right? Yes or no. When you want to change from direct to indirect, we usually use these following phrases. For example, I would like to know, I would like to ask, could you, anyone tell me? Do you have any idea? Do you know? I was wondering, would you mind telling me? So this is the direct, indirect. It's the same meaning, especially. So with yes or no indirect questions, let's take a look at here. Sometimes you can use if to make it as an indirect. For example, if somebody asks you, I was wondering if this train goes to London, that's an indirect, right? If you want to change to direct, would be, does this train go to London? That's direct. Yes, it does. Do you know if it leaves at 3? No, it doesn't. It leaves at 4. Right? Sometimes you can use if to make it as the indirect questions. So a keyword, when you want to do an indirect, you add some phrases like, I was wondering, I would like to know, do you know, things like that. Now, when do we use indirect? Like I said, you can ask both questions, is the same meaning. People will understand you the same ways, but when do we use indirect? We usually use the indirect questions when you want to be more polite, be more formal. These are the questions that I would talk to my boss, right? I was wondering if we could meet at 3 instead of 4. When you want to make it as a polite request, can you meet at 3 p.m. more? This is a little bit more direct. So indirect, more formal, more polite. Sometimes you use the indirect question at the beginning that has a lot of questions in it. For example, can you tell me how much it costs to send a package to the USA? It depends on the size. How much does a 5-kilo box cost? You see, that's an indirect because you have so many questions coming after. So let's do some practice. Some practice here today. We're gonna make indirect questions so that they have the same meaning as the direct questions. Number 1, let's do together. What would you like to drink? I was wondering what you would like to drink. You see something different here? When you put WH question in the middle of the sentence, you follow by subject and verb. If you put WH question in the front, it will be verb, auxiliary verb, plus subject. But if you put WH in the middle, subject plus auxiliary verb. Let's try to do number 2. Why didn't you call to say you would be late? Anybody wants to be a volunteer for number 2? Don't be shy. Yes, Arson. Mute. We can't hear you.
Okay. I would like to know if you'll be late.
Good. I would like to know. Whoop. Sorry. I would like to know if
you would be late.
Good. If you would be late. Good. Very good. That's a good one. All right. Good job, Arson. Number 3.
Thank you.
Where is the next conference? Anybody wants to try?
Yeah, me, Teresa.
Yes.
Could you tell me where the next conference is?
Excellent. Where the next conference is. Subject plus verb. Excellent. Number 4. Which flight is Mr. Stoppard on? Anybody? Any volunteer? Number 4.
Yeah, I can try.
Try,
Mhm.
please. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do you have any idea which flight Mr. Stoppard on?
Mr.
Mr.
Stoppard.
Stoppard is on.
Yes, excellent. Do you have any idea which flight Mr. Stoppard is on? Good job, Angie. That's a very good one. Number 5. Are
I
they?
can,
Are they arriving tonight? Anybody wants to try?
do you know they are arriving tonight?
Excellent. Do you know they are? Do you know if they are arriving
If.
tonight? Yeah, if. Very good. Last one, last chance, people. How often does the bus come?
Would you mind telling me how often the bus comes?
Excellent, Teresa. Would you mind telling me how often the bus comes? Good. Yes, awesome. So you get some idea, right? Again, there's no right or wrong. You can choose direct or indirect. It's the same meaning. But today I want to give you some options, right? I always tell my students that if you're not comfortable using something that you're not comfortable to, English is not that bad of a language. You can choose the other way to do so, right? That means if you don't know how to use indirect, yeah, it's okay. You can just use direct questions. As long as we understand you, there's no issue. But the thing is, when you hear somebody ask you in the indirect questions, I want you to know that this is the question, right? Have you ever been into the situation that somebody asks you the questions and you're just staring at that person? You don't know, is that a question? And they're waiting for your answer. So that's why I want you to know that it could happen. All right, so now,
Sorry, excuse me.
Yes, Angie.
Just a quick question. The last one, how can we make the last one? The last indirect question.
It will be, would you mind telling me how often the bus comes?
Comes.
Okay. Comes
Yeah.
or come?
Comes.
With the S.
Oh, okay.
Comes because it's the bus, singular.
Yeah.
Comes. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Excellent. Good
I
job.
have a question, if I may ask, about the second question. I'm not sure. I'd like to know why you didn't call to say.
That could be too. Yes.
Yeah, because it's, to say you would, no, just exactly the same meaning.
Yes. But the way Arson said is also correct too.
Yeah,
like I said, yes.
Okay, yes.
Good. Very good. Okay, good job. Now, like I promised, I'm leaving my last section for you to practice with your partner. So now you're going to do a little bit of a role play. What you're going to do is you're going to practice what we've been doing today, the direct and indirect question, to ask one of the following situations. So 2 of you will choose only one situation. I don't think you can do 2, right? But if you want to do 2, if you have more time, go ahead. But if you don't, just agree on 1 and it's fine. So number 1, imagine that you work in a company, right? Like Amazon or whatever that you use in your country. You are arranging a delivery for an important client. You want to know whether morning, afternoon, or evening would be the most convenient for your client. So one person will be a client, the other person will be a person who works in the company and trying to deliver the goods to the client. Or you want to do number 2. Number 2 is a customer has called with an inquiry, but it is a bad time. It is difficult to understand what she or he is saying, right? So one is a customer, the other one is a person who works in a company asking direct and indirect questions. Again, if you don't feel comfortable with indirect question, just use the direct question. but I want to give you some options. All right. So I'm gonna open one more time the room. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we lost anybody? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we have. Oh, yeah.